EzCad has an entire section in their manual about adjusting the timings of a laser. That means the on time, the off time, and any delays that they'll have for connecting lines together. You can see over on the right side of the screen under the mark parameters section for the pens, we have a laser on time, a laser off time, an end time, and a polygon time. So for the laser on time, the manual describes this as a delay in starting the laser to begin a line. The off time, same thing, delay in and turning off the laser. And the end time is when you're finished marking a bunch of vectors, how long does the software wait for the hardware to catch up? So again, a delay. And lastly, this is for polygons, and this is lines connecting each other that aren't the start line and aren't the finish line. But this can be a negative value, this laser on. And I did play with mine and I adjusted it, and I'll show you how to do it. I've got the manual here and you can see they run through it. They give you a little guide here on how to set this up. So you make a 40 by 20 rectangle and you hatch it with very large spacing with 1 millimeter spacing, and you set up these settings. Some of these things don't make sense, like the 5 kilohertz frequency. Maybe that's for a different kind of laser, but mine only goes from 20 kilohertz to 80 kilohertz. So the start, the end, the polygon, this is all kind of default values, and that's how mine was set initially. And I didn't see these values existing anywhere in the menus. They're supposed to be, I think, under this advanced menu. So when they're suggesting what to do, they're giving you this example. And first let's set this up so we can look at it. So we're supposed to draw a rectangle and dimension it to 20 by 40 or 40 by 20. So apply that. We'll send that to the origin, and then we'll hatch it. And we're going to hatch it with this unidirectional pattern. We'll leave mark contour on, enable the hatch, we'll leave all calc on. We can average distribute the line, no cross hatch, 0 degree angle, 1 millimeter line spacing, and no edge offset. Say OK, and we just get a bunch of lines. So that looks good. What we're going to do is set this, and I think they want you to do it at something like 500 millimeters per second, 50% power, and they said 5. We'll leave it at 25 kilohertz frequency. So this is going to be our default pen here. And I think the value for laser on started at 300, so that's where I'm going to put it for this. All of these other values should be the defaults. So I'm going to highlight that. I'll just click apply over there to make sure I'm applied. You can see on the workpiece here that I've already marked this quite a few times. That's just showing once, but I've marked it a lot just to play with this and see what I could do with the values. So let's light this. It's going to show up right there. That's fine. Let's do it. And this is just going to mark once. Okay, so you can see the direction. It went left to right, and then it finished the contour in a counterclockwise fashion. So remember, the bottom one has that setting. Now I'm going to shift the laser on value to negative 450 where I just had it. I think I had it at 450. And we'll highlight that again. Whoops. And let's light it again and see if we can move it upward so we can see it. Okay. So all settings are the same except for the laser on value. And let's mark it again. All right. So we've got both of those, and now I'm going to take this to the little USB microscope I have, and we'll look at it on the screen on this digital viewer. So this is our marking up close. So we kind of have to find where we are. So this is the first marking, the lower marking that had the on value of 300. So that should be a delay. And if you can sort of see it, I know it's not very easy to see. I'm going to grab the camera as well and look at the screen. So this is what I'm looking at. This is the little microscope. And we're looking at this first marking here. So we're down in this bottom corner. So on the screen, you can kind of see that there's a disconnect right here. So this is our line. This is where the contour is. And that's where we started marking right there. So if we go up, and I'm going to kind of move this, you can see all of those lines are starting just beyond the contour line. That would mean our laser is coming on just a little bit too late. So we want to speed that up. Now if I scroll up, if I drag the workpiece up and we go to our second marking where I change the value to negative 450 for the start time, you can see, and I'll wipe this off a little bit so you don't have the burn marks. You can see that our lines are now connected. And you can have too much of a burn. Some of this is just, it's an anodized piece of aluminum is what I'm marking, so some of that's just the anodized coming off. But you can see they're now connected. So that's what you're going for. And the rest of the values, that was the start value on the left since we're marking left to right with the pattern. I'll drag this workpiece over so we can see the right side of the marking. So this would be the off value, and this is the upper mark. So I didn't change this from the default, but you can see it looks pretty good to me. Let's drag it down a little bit. And there's the first mark. And I didn't change anything, so it looks fine. But that's kind of how you adjust the timings, and that's the effect it'll have. So it'll just move your start and your end position. So hopefully that's helpful. It's not a real difficult thing to change, and the manual is fairly clear, but it does include some settings that I think don't exist anymore. So hope that helps.